see the cup. What I see is the rays of light reflecting off of the cup. You know that. So light is the only means of visibility. The Quran is called what? Without the Quran, the absence of the Quran is the absence of what then? And without light, therefore without Quran, you cannot truly what? Everybody sees loss. Quran, the light comes and says, actually, if you shed divine light on this, it is actually what? Victory. The Quran redefines things in its own light. The Quran redefines. Every historian, every analyst, every Sahabi of the Prophet ﷺ will go through the best of the companions, the greatest students of the Prophet ever, will see with their eyes and they will see loss until the Quran sheds its light and it turns into what? Victory. How much trust does a believer have to have in the light of the Quran that they must let go of what they see in front of them, because what they see in front of them is with their light, and will forego their light and see things in the light of Allah's words. You see that? This is significant. This is huge. This changed everything for me. You know why? Because for 10 years I tried to study the Quran, well actually 15 years, but you know what I studied? Here's the ayah. Here's the ayah. And to understand the ayah, we must understand the history. Yeah? It's called context of revelation, sabab al-nuzul. So you cannot understand the ayah until you understand the what? So in other words, history will shed light on the ayah. No! The ayah will shed light on... We were looking at this wrong. The history is not the definition of what Quran means. Quran defines what history means. Could anybody have understood those events as victory if Quran didn't come down? No. But even till this day, when we study the surah, we actually first study the history, like I just did for you. But I wanted to tell you, I wanted to share with you, everybody, even the companions, are seeing it a certain way, and the Quran comes along and changes everything. And then I realized something profound because of this surah. Something so profound. Maybe we look at Quran through history, and we don't look at history through Quran. If we've done that injustice to this surah, have we done that other places? And if we have, does it make a difference? And I discovered that it does. It makes a huge difference. And so, today's story, and understanding it in the light of Allah's words, is actually about understanding everything different. Let me tell you something. When somebody wins an election, you call them a winner. When somebody loses an election, you call them a loser. When somebody has $1 million, you call them wealthy. When someone's bankrupt, you call them what? Poor. But the Quran comes along and says Ibrahim was kicked out of his home and he's homeless. But he's the wealthiest of people because he has the wealth of Iman. The Quran comes along and says Fir'aun is the greatest, wealthiest, most powerful man that ever lived. And yet there's no one more bankrupt and no one a bigger loser than Fir'aun. In the world's eyes, even on the dollar bill, there's a pyramid. He's a winner. He made his mark on the world. The pharaohs made their mark on the world. The Quran comes along and calls the greatest winners of history what? Losers. It sheds a different light on the same thing humanity's been looking at all along, isn't it? We must, as believers in this book, learn to internalize that we must look at the entire reality around us in the light of Allah. And when you do, this religion becomes beautiful. And when you don't, it doesn't. So I want to tell you what happened, what really happened in light of the Quran. The Prophet ﷺ struggled against these people. They were his own people, Quraysh. Yes? They considered him rebels. They considered the Muslims terrorists. If they were today, they would be called what? Terrorists. A threat against society. They are not loyal to our nation. They have forgone their citizenship. They are traitors to our nation, and we must annihilate this threat. They are a threat to homeland security. That's what they would have been called. And we never negotiate with terrorists. We must fight them and annihilate them. The Quraysh fought them in Badr and Uhud, tried to destroy the entire thing with the United Nations of the Arabian Peninsula, in Ahzab, and now that we have a chance to kill them with a targeted killing with the 80 assassins, that failed. All of this has failed, but of course the policy is we never negotiate with terrorists. But now they sat down and they put together a treaty. Wait, treaty means you're negotiated. And at the moment you negotiate, you legitimize the nation. They're no longer a faction or some rebel group or a band of criminals or a militia. Now they are a legitimate party because you are in a what with them? You're in a treaty with them. The Quraysh have now internalized the might of the Muslims because they've engaged them in a treaty. We can't fight you, we must put the pen down. Doesn't matter what the clauses are. All around Arabia, there's going to be a ripple. Everybody in the region is going to realize, oh my God, the Quraysh, who tried to kill every last one of them last year, are now so scared of them, they said, let's at least make a peace agreement.